agree on.
As long as we just agree on what we want to do. If you recall from the last meeting when the auditor presented, there were several recommendations that were made, but one in particular seemed to stand out.
Extracurricular activities.
Clubs and,
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
yeah, and so the state's gonna be looking at that.
Are we? Huh?
Well, paying attention.
No. So, I mean, I'll just, if we want to have a discussion about it, we can do that. Personally, I'm good with it.
Give us the final.
Yes, okay.
I mean, I'm certainly okay to move forward with that recommendation if everybody else is, but
I'm sorry, Matt.
being that this is a committee of the whole, we just need to, back at what before, but still a majority here. So, the only other one that seemed to be, at least in my opinion, a possible target item would be the fixed asset inventory. That's another, that was the only other one that had a previous and a current risk assessment of high. I don't know if you want to make any comments about that particular.
We had one maybe 5 years ago on fixed assets. I know Robbie was still here when we actually had that, we did an inventory. But a lot of our, usually we have the state comes in every like 5 years and they'll do, the state will pay for a inventory for us. So that was probably done less than 5 years ago. So many of our assets that aren't building are, these computers are probably our biggest. And we don't own a lot of that because a lot of this bigger stuff was BOCES, we purchased from BOCES, so
Hey, Chief.
technology.
I mean, the extracurricular fund was also done 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
So it sounds like it's the same time frame.
Yes, the reason I'm saying, and what we talked about with extracurricular is because when we had that audit a few years ago, we really straightened out our cash disbursement side of it. So our claims auditor, who audits every check that comes out of here, also audits all the checks that go out of there. The side, now the state, when I was in Albany, I mentioned that the state has been looking and doing a bunch of these audits. The side that, not that I think that anything's wrong, but the side we might be a little lax on is the cash receipt side.
Well, that was one of the notes from the audit.
Correct.
Right, your reconciliations, your outstanding check reviews and everything else.
No, not my, I'm talking about the cash receipts for the,
For the
for the
clubs.
extra, for the clubs. Because when they, like, for example, they have the ticket sales, are they counting the tickets? Are they doing a reconciliation of that? That's questionable. Because you might bring in all these tickets. Well, you say, okay, I had 1,000 tickets and I sold 500, but then some were kids, some were this. What kind of reconciliation is being done with that? That's the only issue. Like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong, but that could leave us open to a bad audit from the state. So that's why we were looking at that.
Okay. So if we want to move forward with the extracurricular activities for this year's audit, what are we looking to do to move forward? What needs to happen? I mean, aside, we'll get the resolution passed tonight.
Right.
What will be the time frame to
Well, I'll
start?
call Mark Levy and let him know.
I know.
I'm sure he'll be
When-
after April 15th.
No, I know, but when we had said to him that we probably have a resolution
Yeah.
by mid-April, I think he seemed to be
Right.
happy about that.
Right.
It seemed like that would be early.
Right, so he'll come in and then he'll, after his craziness is done, he'll come in, he'll bring a couple guys with him and they spend a day or so here and they do the audit. And then they do, they do some work before, they do some work here, and then they go back and finish it up. So they'll work with Craig Jacoby and Eileen Finnegan. Will really be happy on her last year to have to do this. And they'll look at all the items. So they'll probably go to the school, the middle school and the high school, I'm assuming, and look at all their books.
Okay. So the day, it's a one day?
Yeah, 1 or 2 days.
Okay.
They do, like I say, they do field work here, and then they go back and they do, all their other work here.
Okay. And, I mean, do you think that that will be done before the end of the school year?
Oh, it has to be. Yeah.
So they've got,
So last year, I
months?
think we presented those results at it the top 10, could have been, top 10, one of the ones at the middle school. He was
Yeah.
at and presenting it. So hopefully one of those,
Okay.
it shouldn't take too long, I wouldn't think, but, actually, I'm wrong. I think that's when we decided what we were going to do. We're actually a little ahead of the game this
Yeah,
year.
what,
So-
the meeting that you're thinking of
Yeah,
at the middle school
Yeah.
was when we decided.
we decided, so, yeah. So, I think I didn't get the results till September. I'll ask him, and I can get back to you on that. I don't think that's gonna be a big problem. It's, they're pretty good.
Okay,
They're a very good firm. I
I, whenever you do schedule,
Mhm.
I'd like to know when it is,
Mhm.
and if I'm available, I'd like to sit in with them during the audit.
During the actual audit, or
Yeah.
at the end, during the exit conference?
Well, I know I know what an audit means to me
Mhm.
in my business,
Mhm.
and when we get audited by
Mhm.
companies, what it's all, what
Right.
they're looking for,
Mhm.
SOPs and everything else. So maybe I have a different picture in my head of what is gonna go on here.
Mhm.
So walk me through the process of what they'll do.
Well, it's gonna be a little difficult because I'm assuming they're gonna go to the schools this time. They usually come in, they ask people a ton of questions, they'll pull, like on a regular audit,
Right,
let's
they're
say it's
gonna
not.
pull
they'll
random
files.
random files, random checks, random,
Exactly. But what they did, as you're aware of it, what they did in the risk assessment is they pulled a couple. Now, we're gonna concentrate, they're gonna pull a lot more to look at what's going on there. And they'll also look at the book, I'm sure they'll look at all the statements, the bank statements, the balances, and hopefully, because we know the cash disbursement side is good. I mean, I'm sure they'll go through some of the reports, but they'll look at the actual, how do they reconcile their sheets? And these clubs, each club should have their own little reconciliation.
right.
I've seen them in the past and they're doing them, but let's see what they think about their process. So I'm assuming probably the first day, I'll get everything from Eileen and Fred. They'll probably just come here and work on it. And then I'm assuming they're gonna have a lot of questions for that. That would be my thought. But I don't have a problem.
So they usually start here.
Usually they are here. There's no reason usually to go somewhere else because
Mhm.
everything's here. But I'm sure they'll work upstairs and we'll bring them. Like at the end of the year, when we do the year-end audit for Berard and Company, we have all everything set from the extra classes here. So I'll ask for it from them.
Okay.
You never know.
Dr. Adams, do you have any issue if I sit in on, if I even can?
Right.
Depending on what it is.
You just spend your lunch out.
What's that?
You spend your lunch out here.
I don't know.
Oh, that would be fine.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so whenever you do get a schedule, just let me know.
Okay.
And if I can, then I will, and if I can't, then I won't.
Yeah, I'll, usually they send me a few dates and I'll send it to you. We'll
Okay,
see.
all right. So then we're all in agreement then?
For all 6 of the areas that they consider high risk?
No, you pick
No, you
one.
have to pick
No,
one.
no, no.
Pick one, so we're
Right.
gonna go with the,
Extra classroom activity.
right.
All those, I think he tried to explain that all those areas
Yeah.
are high risk anyway.
Right, no
It's
matter
not
where,
like, oh,
right,
we have
right.
high risk.
Right,
Matt.
it's
I have
that, it's central, yeah.
Go ahead. So I recall that same area was recommended in the past,
Right,
and we've made some changes.
yes.
So they went back and recommended exactly the same? That's what I wanted to hear.
Well, they didn't do that. Someone else did that audit.
Exactly.
And the reason that we talked about it was we cleaned up the half of it, the
Mhm.
cash disbursement side of it.
Mhm.
But when I went to the state, and he knows what's going on with audits also, it seems to be one of those hot button issues, right?
Yes.
Extra class. So that's something he thought, well, maybe we should look at. He's recommending that. He's not feeling, we did payroll, we did purchasing. Those are the main areas where we have exposure, obviously,
Right.
here.
Right.
So obviously payroll far beyond everything else.
Right.
But, so, it's another big area that,
I guess my question is, we made improvements after the first
Mhm.
recommendation was, and we had voted that to go ahead with the same neighborhood basically in terms of the focus of that year, right? In spite of that, they still feel strongly that it's an area to revisit?
because we cleaned up the cash disbursements, that was an easy fix. We had our auditor going through and looking through every check that goes out the door. We know we're getting the right signature. We know we're getting the right approval.
Right.
We know we're getting the right backup. We don't know that on the cash receipt side. We have
On the cash.
tightened that up right now.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, does it need to be? Maybe it's not that bad.
Maybe it's
That's
not
what
bad.
that'll be.
Okay,
But since the state might come in and look at it,
right.
I
So now the focus is on the other half of it.
Exactly.
I understand. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have no problem with that, Matt, if you're good with it.
Anybody else?
Everyone
No?
else.
Tom, good.
Due diligence.
Mark?
Whatever you think, man, I'm good.
With too much confidence.
Tom, that's it, Tom.
I think one of the things that they have, or maybe they always had it, in order to start a new club, you had to have a president, and now you must have a treasurer.
Mhm.
Must be someone who is responsible just for
A
that.
really good idea.
Now, that's something they'll look at too. Are we getting
That's
the right
good, yeah.
approvals for that? How are they adding clubs the correct way? They'll look at that too.
Mhm.
And that's
Right.
probably a good idea to make sure that's true.
Well, at the high school, I know that's,
You need
yeah,
both.
must be, yeah.
And you know, these clubs are really for the kids. The advisors are just there on the outside. And obviously, that's not always going to be the case, but
Right.
hopefully it's the case.
But you want to have checks and balances in
Sure.
the system, basically, that,
Absolutely.
to make sure everybody's following that.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing else for us to do
Mark,
at this
would you
point,
like-
right?
That's correct.
So we could get it
Start our meeting.
as,
Yeah, whatever
well,
you
that'll get on as a resolution
Yes.
first tonight.
We'll go upstairs and have Angela type out the resolution.
All right.
Doc, is Angela here tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's going to be typed up and shared in print? And
Yes.
we're still voting on it?
Yes,
So we'd like to.
because we had the item,
Yeah, I think it's,
Yeah, it's
There's
listed.
a placeholder.
but we didn't know
There's a placeholder.
what you all would decide tonight.
right.
Right, so, I mean, it's not really a perfect scenario to have it so last minute. I mean, I have concerns about that. So if we can have a few minutes to read the
Oh, sure.
item, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
I'll go up there now and we'll get to work on it.
Well, Tom, you good, how are you, man? It's really crazy.
Tuesday, right?
It is, buddy. Busy week.
Is there anything else
I
on
got
that?
chance to be fine.
Thank you.
What do you want?
Hello, Mr. Thompson.
Always start these out.
How are you?
We have five, we have 1, 2, 3.
Are we supposed to wait till, I didn't know.
I don't know, I think Terry's going to be and Teresa's not going to be here.
Okay.
Now we-